have you played with the ChatGPT stuff, like the AI that's like gonna, I don't know, revolutionize everything?
Yeah.
Or will it? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, we've been playing with it. We're actually, we're doing a live show tonight in Austin, and well, it'll be last night by the time this comes out, probably. But we put into the ChatGPT, like, write a monologue in the voice of Saagar Enjeti about UFOs, and it does a thing.
Yeah.
It's service, like the grammar is good. You know, it doesn't sound like Saagar at all. Like the sort of grammar they use and the way they approach
ladies and gentlemen, it's time we have an important conversation about
UFOs.
If you wanted to be grandiose, it was a very important.
It'd be like that'd be like '90s politician, like, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we have an important
Have you heard Lex Friedman talk about it though? Lex was on my podcast.
Fully through your podcast
the other day.
I'd be interested to hear what he has to say. Yeah,
he said Chat 4.0 is on the way.
Oh, that's right, because it has more information that's going to be available.
It's going to be way better.
See, I listened to Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT. I heard he got a question about the fourth version because there is a lot of speculation that it's going to be like a whole other universe in terms of its capabilities, that it's going to be more closely approximating actual intelligence in a way that's going to really super freak people out. Like that's what a lot of people like Lex and others, I guess, are projecting. He was really trying to pour cold water on that idea, but that may just be because he doesn't want to get it overhyped. He wants to set the bar low so that when the thing actually drops, you know, it lands with a appropriate, I guess, fanfare.
The real thing of concern is that this didn't exist 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and now it exists and it's gotten better really quickly. Maybe it did exist 2 years ago, but it wasn't publicly consumable.
It didn't have a chat function.
Right.
That was a thing.
See, that's the thing is actually, this was, again, you know, listening to this interview with Sam Altman, he was talking about how he was actually really surprised by the way that the public, when they got to play with it, were like, oh my God. Because in his mind, working so closely with the technology, this just felt like the next logical step. But for people who hadn't been deeply, you know, enmeshed in the details of the technology, when suddenly you had this thing in front of you and you could play with it, and then you've got this, like, the image generators and whatever, that it kind of blew people's minds. And we've been talking about how you've got universities, professors who are freaked out.
Yeah, this is our favorite.
About kids cheating on tests and, you know, using this to write their essays and whatever. And so I do think it's going to require a kind of entire rethink of the university experience, of which parts of what human beings can do are more difficult to replicate by the machine. Because the machine can spit out a Saagar Enjeti theoretical UFO monologue, but it can't create new ideas, right? It's lacking a sort of like creativity.
For now.
For now.
Yes, for now.
For now. That's the real thing is for now. Because I think it's going to. And I think within 5 years it's going to be better at us.
Oh.
Better at being us than us.
But that's actually important, and that's one of the fun things that we're seeing through the ChatGPT education, which I love. And actually it's fascinating. We get a ton of feedback on those segments because it's a lot of college kids are fed up with bullshit busy work. A lot of professors are tearing up their entire syllabus, and they're like, all right, now we're going to go to oral examination. We're going to have a discussion in class. And I was like, that's great. That's fantastic. You shouldn't be doing a bullshit essay, first draft.
But that also teaches you how to write, which is actually important.
Actually, I don't know if it does, actually.
Well, it could.
Well, yes.
Well, but if you have... So the comparison they make is to, like, the invention of the calculator.
Yeah.
It's like you still need to understand the math to know what to put into the calculator.
Right.
But you don't need to know how to do all that shit by hand.
Can we pause this? I have to pee so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Let's use the
I need to pee
restroom.
too.
We're right back. Woo!
All right, we're back.
Think so much better.
What
were we?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT,
yes.
colleges.
And cheating.
Yeah.
And I do think part of the freak out right now is because most automation that has, like, killed people's jobs has been service workers, it's been blue collar, and now you have a lot of white collar workers who are like, oh shit, this could be coming for me.
Did you see the BuzzFeed thing? That
No, I did
BuzzFeed
not.
hired ChatGPT, or is going to use ChatGPT to auto-generate listicles.
Yeah, they laid off.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
they just laid 10% of their staff off.
Oh my
Right.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
and by
this
the
is
way,
the big fear,
and their
right?
stock didn't their stock like
Yeah, their stock went up by, I
skyrocket?
want to say 95% in
Yay.
a single day.
Fire people,
Yeah.
give me more money.
Yay! Hooray! What a great system we have.
Not great. Yeah.
But doesn't that leave room for Substack people?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
doesn't it leave room for creators that you get an obvious look into their mind and they take pride in their writing? I would say to young kids, I would say fuck around with ChatGPT. I would say figure out what it does because it's an important thing. But learn how to write. I think it's good for you. And I think if you want to get better at whatever you're doing that requires writing, like if you're going to be a journalist, even if you use ChatGPT to give you a framework, you should learn how to be creative.
Absolutely.
Well,
it's good for you.
Yeah.
I do think that's a good point, and it's where the calculator analogy kind of fails because the calculations are the calculations. There's no
Yes.
like style or voice that
Right.
goes into it.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, Saagar and I write a lot every single week. I know you write a lot as part of, being a comedian. And when you do that a lot over time, you develop your own voice, you develop your
Yes.
own style that you maybe aren't going to come to if you're starting with the ChatGPT framework. Even if you're not just wholesale, like taking whatever chat gives you and like selling that off as your own, even if you're taking it and workshopping, whatever, it's not quite the same
Right.
as staring at the blank piece of paper and creating it in your voice.